The House now comes to oral question. The first in the name of Oreni Kaupara.
E te pika tēnā koe. My question is to the Minister of Justice. Does he stand by the government's policy to ban enrolments in the final 13 days before an election, despite the Attorney General warning that more than 100,000 people may be directly or indirectly disenfranchised by this proposal?
The Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the question. The answer is yes, and I've got every confidence that New Zealanders have the capability of responding to a change in the signal that is sent, and they've got a year to get enrolled, and they've got every confidence that they will be able to get enrolled 13 days before the election.
Supplementary. What impact will the prisoner voting ban have on wahine Māori, Māori women who are one of the most over-incarcerated groups in the world?
Well, if they're imprisoned more than 3 years currently, they don't have the vote. After the legislation is passed, if they're imprisoned after the passing of that legislation for less than 3 years, they will lose their vote, and that's about sending a clear message to those who are victims of crime that we take that seriously, and there are consequences for crime, and one of those consequences is temporarily losing one's vote while one is in prison.
Supplementary. Does the Minister dispute evidence that shows that denying prisoners the right to vote undermines rehabilitation goals, increases social exclusion, and ultimately increases the risk of offending?
Well, of course, I tend to think more about the needs of the victims of crime who are trying to put their life together after having been bashed or stolen or murdered, or the many other victims of crime that live in this country. And so, look, we have a robust, strong democracy. There are many countries around the world that have various restrictions on prisoners voting. Currently, it is the law that if you're in prison for 3 years or more, you lose your vote, and we are extending that earlier, and we think that's fully justified.
Supplementary. Does his government truly care about democracy? Or do they only care about democracy when it can be weaponised against Māori, such as when they removed Māori wards?
Stop. The House will listen to a question in silence. Start again.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Does the Minister's government truly care about democracy, or do they only care about democracy when it can be weaponised against Māori, such as when they removed Māori wards, dismantled co-governance and introduced the Treaty Principles Bill?
Okay, that question should be ruled out because it doesn't comply with the requirements of standing orders. However, in so much as the Minister is able to make a statement, he can.
Well, I can assure the House that this government does care about democracy, very much so. And the good news about democracy is that governments are held to account, and we are perfectly willing to put our record before New Zealanders, particularly in the justice space, where we've seen 38.
Just a moment. Things have to settle down. There's people just yelling for no particular purpose. They're not interventions. They're just boorish barracking, and it's got to stop. Minister will briefly end his answer.
Well, I was just continuing about the virtues of democracy and the accountability, and where we lay our performance before the people of New Zealand at their next election. And we're very proud of the progress that we've made on many fronts.
The Honourable David Seymour.
Can the Minister confirm that it's actually a legal obligation to be enrolled to vote with an up-to-date address from the age of 18?
Minister Seymour, someone called out then, interjected while a question's being asked. Question can be asked again, and you will be given silence of the House.
Can the Minister confirm it's actually a legal obligation, one of the few blanket obligations the law places on all New Zealanders, to be enrolled to vote with an up-to-date address from the age of 18? So it shouldn't be much of a problem to be enrolled 13 days before an election. And if so, does he believe that New Zealanders of all races are equally capable of fulfilling this basic requirement?
Yes and yes, and I've always been troubled by a particular party claiming that their voters are disadvantaged by any changes, which would imply that their voters are less capable than other voters of getting themselves enrolled, which is a strange way to talk about your voters.
Good.